Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by the amazing Jason Potter. Jason, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. How you doing? Good to be here.
So glad to have you here, man. But before we talk about why you're here, I want to about you a little bit. So we're here to talk about the upcoming film, Name the Demon. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with the project?
Totally, yeah. I work with these group of guys, Danny, Scotty, and Carmelo. I've worked with them for years. This is our third feature together. We just had an idea years ago that they wanted to make a found footage horror movie. They're big into horror movies, and to be quite honest, I was never into horror before, and it wasn't until we got into it, and I was like, okay, well, horror. What is this? What is it? What I just wasn't familiar with the genre that well. And we started making and getting into it and then like watching things and finding inspiration and stuff. And I had a huge appreciation for what we were making. So I got into horror by making horror, which was kind of
Right.
a cool way to kind of get into it. So yeah, we made a found footage film, and then we made another narrative feature film, and then we wanted to come back and do another found footage film with Name the Demon. So
Mhm.
we got the band back together. We flew out to Chicago to film this film, and it was great. I think we really started honing things in. We started really getting to know the team well and putting together, I think, a really cool project.
Dude, and I'm so excited for people to be able to finally check this out. So, non-spoiler, obviously. Can you tell us a little bit about your character in the film?
Totally, yeah. My character is Deacon John Andrews. I play kind of as there's a group of priests that kind of come in for this exorcism, and I play like a deacon, and I'm a little more on the unexperienced side. My character is, so I'm kind of seeing things. And I'm the one holding the camera too, so I'm kind of playing the role of like the audience in this. So I'm kind of going through and I'm kind of judging things like, okay, this is happening here. How do I feel about this? So I kind of go through this arc of like, is this right? And throwing kind of the questions out through the camera, so it kind of funnels into the audience.
And that's one of the most important parts of found footage. And I think that's where found footage most of the time gets it wrong, is they
Hmm.
don't use the cameraman the way that the cameraman should be used.
Right.
A lot of times people do found footage because of the aesthetic of found footage, but not what found footage is supposed to represent and how important, because the cameraman is our voice throughout the movie and what, we're seeing. So, with a character like this, like, you have a holy character that's kind of a Johnny come lately, so to speak. How did you get into character for this role?
It's tough, especially when found footage. I've had a fair amount of acting experience doing like on-screen stuff and new narrative.
Mhm.
What's different about found footage is there's a level of realism that there is, in a sense, you're turning the presentation all the way down. You got to, because you want to really feel the reality of the situation you're in, because it's supposed to feel like it's real. So I struggled at first, when I was getting into the character, like I was inhibiting my natural acting instincts, and I have to mute that. So did a lot of work with Carmelo, and we just try to really make this as real as possible. And what was nice, what helped me is I actually slept in the house that we filmed in. So we had the house all decked out, and like, oh, it's creepy as heck. It's this really old house, and I slept there. I slept in the attic of the house. It's actually in the same scene where um yeah, basically the exorcism and where Anna, the possession, all takes place. So I really got to feel it, and it didn't take long for me to really get into that mode, being in this really creepy place and sleeping in that environment and being in that space.
So, you talk often about, being in front of the camera. Obviously a lot of your acting career is being in front of the camera. What
Yeah.
kind of adjustments do you have to make to still be that character while being a cinematographer, while you're still filming? What kind of adjustments did you have to make that happen?
I was very fortunate to have because I've attended a film school, so I have the cinematography knowledge, and then I also have worked on the acting side too, so I was able to combine the two and fuse them together, which is really great. But it's still very difficult. To your point, it is a matter of, because I'm trying to see the scene and show what I need to show while also being character. So it just takes a lot of adjustment, and on top of that, we're doing these, they're all long takes because it's supposed to look like it's all one continuous shot. So it's kind of like that 1917 kind of element where it's like the whole thing looks like it's one take where we hide takes in there,
Yeah.
hide cuts and stuff. So it's a lot of long takes. So it's like trying to stay in characters, kind of keep the authenticity in my voice while showing what I need to show and not showing too much. So it took, we actually spent a lot of time rehearsing. Like, actually, we spent more time rehearsing than we actually shot it because it was very just like getting the flow of it, getting the feel of the movements, and then getting the action and then the emotion involved after that. So it took a lot, and it's very difficult, but I think we accomplished it.
Right. Well, and you just brought up a really good point, like the amount of rehearsal that goes into a role like this, because essentially you're playing three parts. You're the
Yes.
cameraman, you're the actor behind it, but you're also a lot of voiceover type work.
Yeah.
So, you're essentially doing the job of three different people
Mhm.
during this. So, like, what was your experience like on set?
It was stressful for sure. It's a lot of pressure. But I'm very willing to take it. It's just a lot of what's nice about working with these guys in this like third round of working on the feature is we have the communication down because it is a lot of communication. Having this kind of role, I have to be able to communicate and collaborate with everybody, being like, "Okay, this is working, this is not," and we have to make these kind of adjustments so that it all runs fluid together.
Sure.
So that was, so it was, and it worked out well. I think it would have been really hard if I was, didn't know any of these people and haven't worked with them before, and trying to relay those kind of three elements, like you were saying, together. It'd be difficult, but it's a matter of just kind of gelling it with how these people and collaborate and communicate. It made it a lot easier than it could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and just so you guys know, the film comes out next week. But before that, obviously, we're going to play you an exclusive trailer of the upcoming Name the Demon. So we're going to check that out real quick.
When I get the call from a bishop about an exorcism, I bring the same briefcase.
Honestly, I've seen things you can't imagine.
So now you guys have seen the exclusive trailer for Name the Demon. So, we talked about your experience on set and a little bit about your character, but overall, what can people expect out of the film?
I think what people can expect is a movie that's really engaging the whole time, something that will keep you watching. It's from the very beginning, you're just intrigued about what's going on. The reason we were doing we wanted to really nail a second found footage film because we wanted to like have the effects, we wanted to have the elements to really just kind of hone in that horror element. It's not just a exorcism type film. This is an exorcism film that really gets you to feel and think, and kind of drives you to your own conclusions on things. So I think it's a really engaging film. I think audiences are really gonna enjoy it. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah. And like I said, this film is coming out next week. So do you know what platforms you guys are going to be released on?
Yeah, we'll be on several streaming platforms. We'll be on Amazon, Apple TV, Sling TV, Pluto, I believe. Yeah, a bunch of those.
Okay. Well, and I do want to remind everybody, I do have all of Jason's social media links down in the description. So make sure you're following him so you can stay up to date, not only on when this film is going to be coming out, because it's coming out next week, but that's not the only thing he's doing. This way you can stay up to date on all the amazing things he has coming up for us in the future as well. Now, we talked about Name the Demon, obviously, the reason I brought you here.
Mhm.
But we are on Sledgehammer Horror, Jason. So I got to
Sure.
ask the big question that I always ask everybody.
Yeah.
We're all about people's first horror movie. So
Yes.
you remember what the first horror movie you watched was?
The first one I would say that made an impression on me was Poltergeist. Yeah, I loved it. It was just something about it that just felt so like, man, I could just feel myself there. It really engaged me in a way that other horror films like it just didn't before then. And it was an amazing film. I mean you have Spielberg, you have Matthew Leonardo involved. I mean a great film, and I started developing my appreciation for horror. Then I'll just say that.
And like you said, like this movie, it's PG, and it's still one of the best horror movies I think ever made. You know, we go back and we look at movies that came out in that time period, and you realize this movie's PG, and you're like, how the fuck did they get away with that?
Exactly. Yes, it's wild.
So again, I want to thank you, Jason, for taking your time to come and hang out with me, talk about Name the Demon and some of the other amazing things that you're doing coming up. And I can't wait for people to finally be able to get their hands into this. I know a lot of you are huge found footage fans, so make sure you're checking this out. Jason, please don't go anywhere, my friend. I got a couple more questions for you. Everyone else, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.